WrestleTalk!
WrestleMania 38 Episode 1 was better than it had any right to be. WrestleMania 38 Episode 2 was somehow even better. We dared dream that WWE was actually turning things around. And then WrestleMania 38 Episode 3, the Raw After Mania. God damn, nothing happened.
It's a show that, I wouldn't say this was a bad show. There were times I think there was stuff on it that was bad, but I don't think it was a bad show. I think it is a disappointing show because you are following up those excellent nights of WrestleMania. Really, really good. The amount of chats that we had in from people saying, I haven't watched WWE in ages, but I gave WrestleMania a try, and this made me want to watch Raw. Who then watched Raw, and they were there in the chat with us last night, and were like, oh, and this is why I stopped watching WWE. I guess I'll see you next WrestleMania.
As X-Men 3 Last Stand will tell you, disappointing things can be more crushing than just out-and-out bad things that you already kind of knew were going to happen.
Yeah.
Broke our hearts. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Luke Owen D.A.D. This is the Raw After Mania Review podcast. Please subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Get your Ultrachats in to WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one of them over $5 before the end of the show. And thank you to Veer.
Yeah, beer is coming to your front door. Beer52.com/WrestleTalk. Get yourself 10 free craft beers on us. You've just got to pay for that sweet ass postage and packaging, and you get 10 free craft beers like this beautiful one right here that Ollie Davis is holding to your front door. Excellent service. I've been a genuine subscriber to Beer 52 for 7 to 8 years at this point, and I've never had a bad box out of them. There were some delicious beers that we've been supping over the last few days. They've been a fabulous sponsor to hear us over the WrestleTalk Podcast over WrestleMania weekend. So please go and show them some love. Click that link in the video description down below, or the one being posted by our wonderful moderating team.
Appropriately for WrestleMania 38, this example porter is called Nostalgia.
Yeah.
The main thing that happened at the weekend. Right, so this episode of Raw, the whole episode was building up to Roman Reigns is going to speak. Roman Reigns is going to address the WWE Universe. And, they didn't out and out say he's got a major announcement or anything, but it's the Raw After Mania. He's just won both championships. It's implied. It's heavily expected that he is going to do something of note. Either shoot an angle to set up his next program, either call someone out, or maybe unveil a new belt, or at least clear up what the UI Championship?
Yeah, the title is now officially the undisputed
WWE
Universal Champion.
Which is the initialism UE, UWE, which is the emoticon version for a cute kawaii face.
So yeah, I thought it was actually... Okay, I'll save this point later. It's the end of the WWE Championship lineage.
Is it, though? Is it in 2 months' time when Roman loses a match, but he only drops one belt in some confused cluster F?
But then that's not a unified title. That's two belts.
Yeah, well...
He has merged those two belts together.
It's not I don't think it's a unified title. It's an undisputed title.
Oh, right. They've just rebadged it, you fool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it gives them an out a few months down the line to separate them again.
Guess so.
It was. I don't think this is the whole idea behind the belts coming. At least is my view. Was purely to make that WrestleMania main event feel even bigger.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Because up until a month beforehand, until Chamber, there was another WWE Championship match on the cards.
Yeah, we had 2 WWE champions prior to that in all of this.
So I think they'll split. This is just as a short-term buzz thing, but it would have been nice to have some clarification.
That's exactly. And what does it mean now that he is the unified champion? Does that mean he is going to be on both shows going forward? Is he going to be on Raw and SmackDown for the foreseeable future while he is that champion? None of this is addressed. Because what happened is, at the end of the show, after 3 hours of promoting, making you, the audience, stick around, what's Roman going to do? It's the main event angle of the show, the main event segment. What's he going to do? And he comes out and he says, please watch SmackDown on Friday and I'll tell you then. And it wasn't done as a heel thing. It wasn't done like a, ha ha ha, I've wasted your time. You're just going to have to wait till Friday to hear what I've got to say. It was just a case of, nope, Friday is the biggest show, so I'll tell you then.
Even if it was done as a heel thing, which would make more sense, like, even then, you would then interrupt that with, I don't know, just a name for the sake of example, Cody coming out, staring him down. There was no reason Cody couldn't come down and stare at the belt, and that's it. And then you come back to that maybe a month or two down the line.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, incredibly disappointing. Not only was it a 3-hour build to that nothing promo, it was also a 15-minute segment to say that.
Yeah.
So you got the entrance. Paul Heyman did a long list of the Bloodline's accomplishments, which sounded more like a Q1 investors call, because it's like, Peacock subscribers increased by 43%. The box offices for the Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, SummerSlam were up in record-breaking numbers.
Also, one of those is wrong. Steve Austin was the box office draw for WrestleMania weekend. That's undisputed fact.
Well, you should have had the glass shatter again. Make it three nights in a row of stunners.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this was... Well, it was nothing. Nothing happened. And this is the Raw After Mania. The expectation is that it's the start of a new season. You debut new characters. You start the hot new storylines.
That's the key to it, right? Starting a new... I don't need a surprise return. I don't need a shock debut. I don't need, like... I put up on Twitter yesterday that I thought it was disappointing, and that was what people instantly thought was like, oh, because it never returned, you thought it was bad. I don't need that. I just need you to tell me what is the next big storyline in WWE? Because at the moment, there are no big storylines in WWE. And like Raw After Mania set up no big storylines in WWE, and that I think is a really shocking use of your 3 hours of television. Here's the other defenses of this that I have seen. I knew that a tweet that I had done had blown up in some capacity because I was then getting replies from people that don't follow me, calling me certain names and saying that this is why no one takes WrestleTalk seriously anymore, that sort of thing, right? The two common defenses I saw were Roman's injured, so that you couldn't do anything, and it's called a cliffhanger, and every TV show does this.
That's not a cliffhanger.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
that's a blue ball.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I think you need to look up what the definition of what a cliffhanger is.
Well, let's just look at, to be cynical about it, let's look what happened on this show. Cody Rhodes said he wants to go for the championship.
Yeah.
I would say that is the biggest thing of note to come on this episode. That means something. I'm not talking Veer. I'm not talking Ezekiel. Those are lower mid-card things at best. That was an actual hint towards something big. So what we got next? Women's tag, nothing. Kevin Owens promo, nothing really. We got Ezekiel coming out, which is a repackaged Elias, which is sort of a fun comedy gimmick, but ultimately means nothing. Veer debuted.
Well, I think you got to look at the promos, the segments like that. It's not like some of the matches and stuff.
I'll keep going. Bianca Belair promo said nothing. It was just like, I'm the champion, babyface, generic stuff. No new challenger, no angle, no new storyline there. Bron Breakker won the NXT title, but that's for a different show. Bobby Lashley, MVP turned on Bobby, sided with Amos. I guess that's something kind of note, but I don't care about it.
And I can tell you exactly why that is, but we'll get to it when we get to it.
Vega and Carmella broke up, something of note, but I don't care about it. Austin Theory got another win over Balor. It's the same stuff that was happening as before. Edge got a promo with Damian Priest. They are a new faction, but they got together the previous night. They beat up AJ Styles, so no new developments. Street Profits beat Alpha Academy, and then the Roman promo. Nothing forwarded anything on the one show a year where it's the most important to do that and ride off that wave of momentum from Mania.
That's exactly it, right? This is, like, statistically the biggest show of the year. It's the biggest episode of Raw every single year. And I don't think this did a good enough job of making me, the viewer, be excited for next week's Raw, not even next week's SmackDown. Because, like, what was Roman going to say on next week's SmackDown? Watch Raw?
Well, that's the new gimmick. It's like Chris Jericho when he teased speaking all the time. Well, let's see what you guys think on the Ultrachats, WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one over $5. Double L Liam Leonard.
Oh, Liam.
Says, well, that was pants. Why, when we have something positive, WWE has to have 500 negatives? And for F's sake, stop pinning Finn and let him be on a pay-per-view. I think Finn hasn't even had 5 wins this year so far and hasn't won on a pay-per-view since Mania versus Bobby Lashley. For F's sake, jam that jam.
Hasn't won a pay-per-view on Mania since Lashley. When was that?
Balor versus Lashley.
Because it wasn't last year's Mania, because that was Bobby Drew.
Well, he hasn't won for years on a pay-per-view.
That's...
I know.
Because it wouldn't have been the Mania before that either, because who was Bobby facing then? Was it like Aleister Black or something he had a match with?
God, I can't remember.
Oh, dear.
Riot DR. Oh, you do this. It's so much better.
Hey, yo.
Today I have chosen positivity. Priest and Edge look fantastic. I agree. Cody was at his finest. And in a land of basic lame entrance themes, Bobby Lashley and Amos both have pretty sweet songs. Love you guys. No particular reason. Jam the jammiest jam.
Did you see Brody King's tweets?
Yes.
He said, this is what happens when you get the House of Black on Wish.com.
I call them the House of Purple.
I did a pop for that.
Drew Snyder. Raw After Mania should be about fans like me who follow WWE through avenues like WrestleTalk, but don't actively watch, and giving us a reason we need to watch. I feel like they failed for me. Ezekiel.
I don't like to do with this company for Ezekiel.
The man wrote.
I know, but I liked the Ezekiel angle.
I like the Ezekiel angle too, but he's paid his money.
This company.
Yes.
I could have done it as a big smiley one. This company. This company. The Ezekiel thing's brilliant.
Bacon Rasher. Hi, lads. So just as I said yesterday, WWE have gone back to rubbish. Glad I didn't stay up for that. Recorded and watched Raw for the first time in a long time, and wow, that was poor. Back to just keeping up with you, lads. Also, sign King J to WrestleTalk. Jam that jam. Got a King J section out there. He's upstairs.
Is he upstairs again?
I think so. Everybody knows that's where he works. just literally upstairs.
He'll just be in the chat in a bit, just being like, hey guys, what's up?
Carlos Ruiz. Hello, Wrestle lads. First time Ultra Chatter. 10 years ago, Raw After Mania came off the heels of Rock vs. Cena, and the main event segment of that Raw had Lesnar return and F5 John Cena. 10 years later, the main event segment of Raw After Mania was just an announcement. It wasn't even an announcement.
No, it wasn't even an announcement. It was basically just telling you, the audience, watch SmackDown. And I think about the viewing audience, how frustrating that is. About the paying audience that were there in attendance to see the Raw After Mania, and they were told, you bought tickets for the wrong show.
Chocobo Kid, finally for now. It wasn't a complete waste of time, since it was a good time with the boys.
Thanks, mate.
Oh, isn't that nice?
We did have fun on the stream yesterday.
Before we get on with the full play-by-play review of Raw, let's have another message from Veer.
Beer52.com/WrestleTalk. Get yourself not 1, not 2, not 3, but 10 free craft beers on us. It is a fabulous subscription service. All you got to do is pay for that sweet-ass postage and packaging, and you will have 10 beautiful, delicious, flavorful craft beers delivered to your front door. Beer52 have been a very good sponsor to WrestleTalk Podcast. Please show them some love by clicking the link in the video description down below, or the one being posted by our wonderful moderating team. I bloody love Beer52.com. When they first started sponsoring us about 5 or so years ago, it was like we were approached by a third party. People were like, this company is looking to sponsor you. And I was so excited. I messaged them back being like, oh, I'm a subscriber to theirs.
Yeah.
Like I was a subscriber before they started sponsoring us. I was like, I love this company. And we then have cultivated a very good relationship with them over the years. And I get a bit giddy when I email them because I'm like, oh, I love you guys.
It's like they're famous.
I know they are. They were to me because I think your service is really good. So yeah, beer52.com/WrestleTalk.
UK people only, of course.
Of course.
Because we're the best. This episode of Raw at least opened hot, I would say, because they opened on the Cody Rhodes promo. A lot of expectation and intrigue going into this episode. It was probably... Well, it was the only hyped thing on the show going in.
There were 3 things announced for Raw before the show started, and that was Cody Rhodes' promo, Roman Reigns cutting a promo, and Veer Mahan was coming. Veer McMahon. According to Fightful, there was a lot of, on the running order, the Cody and Roman segments kept being swapped throughout the day. They hadn't made a decision until 10 minutes before the show, which was going to open and which was going to close.
Oh, I mean, the Cody one would have definitely been the better dramatic close. But even then, it wasn't a crazy big angle to send people home on.
But at least it had some substance to it.
Yes. Of all the bad ideas, that's the best bad idea, as they say in Argo. Maybe I guess it's because the Roman segment did so well in the ratings last week that they thought, okay, well, let's save that for the end. People will stick around for it.
Hopefully, yeah, try and bump up that third hour.
So Cody comes out the the Cody Vader. I love the shot where his head was just at the bottom.
Like, this is only your first time doing it on TV. You've got to get used to using the Cody Vader, and it was just him sort of poking his head and being like, "Is it time?
Yeah,
are you ready?"
It's like in not Groundhog Day, Caddyshack, where it's just Cody's head at the bottom. Yep, is it? Okay, I'm good. So he did a full entrance. He got a hero's reaction from the crowd.
I thought the reaction was okay.
Okay.
I thought that actually the crowd all night, this didn't feel like a Raw After Mania crowd. The only time it felt like a Raw After Mania crowd was when they were chanting "We don't care" at Edge and Priest. And I'm like, guys, this is one of the few good things in the company. Don't say bad about this one.
Yeah. Well, I came across to me like a big reaction. No AEW chants.
Again.
Still. So very impressive.
Cody chants, "You deserve it" chants, "Welcome home" chants. "You did it" chants? Or was that for the Bianca one?
I can't remember. But Cody cut a promo, quite a long promo, but it's a Cody promo. It's going to be good. He said how easy it was for him to return to WWE, like it was the best decision for him. And the crux of it is he shows a picture of his father that was in his father's bedroom all the time when he was a kid, and it's him holding up the WWF.
The WWF
Championship from the 70s. And Cody was like, "Oh my God, my dad was the champion." Turns out he never actually won the belt because that was a count out. He won that match by a count out. He never held it. So he said, "I want to win the championship my dad didn't get." And he's finally ready, which is a really cool idea. And I was listening to Wrestling Observer, and Brian Alvarez was like, if he fights for the title at SummerSlam, he's got to win via countout.
Oh, that is good though. That's superb.
And then you do the actual title change at Mania, which apparently is what they did with Lex Luger.
What, like one by a countout?
And his big sort of
Yeah.
Lex Express run. And that was a disastrous booking decision.
Well, yes, but it was also 1995.
Yeah.
And like nothing worked for them in 1995 whatsoever.
I think it's a hell of a story if they lean into that.
What I really liked about this promo, and the reason why I think this is probably the lone highlight of the show, an ironic lone highlight of the show because there was Ezekiel after all, is that this sets up a character beat for him. This is character progression, a brand new character for him in a way. And when he now goes for the WWE title, there is an emotional heft and weight behind it, as opposed to just being like, I want to be the champion, I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. He has now got a reason to go after that belt, and now we as fans are invested in that reason. So a very successful promo this was.
It's a really good point. Seth Rollins came down afterwards, and I was like, oh no. I don't want them to continue the feud. I want something new. And Seth just shook his hand. I thought that was really well done. Caught me completely off guard. I don't think it's a babyface turn for Seth. I just think this is a big guy in WWE, and he is welcoming Cody back to the company. They've got that shared father figure of Dusty Rhodes. Yeah, do it for Dusty. I'm overcoming my heel persona to wish you well.
I thought it was really good. I thought Seth was very cool in the way that he came down to the ring and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I did enjoy this a lot. Like you, I was worried like, oh man, they're just going to run it back. Looks like they're not. So thumbs up for that. Also, thank you for the chat. Correct me. It was 93, not 1995.
Also a bad time for...
Yeah, it's good. Also, nothing went right for them then either.
The only thing... And again, on Front Street, I'm an AEW mark. Even though I, hate on it so much, apparently... That's sort of where my heart is, particularly with the Cody story. And the crime bits felt more performative here than they did when he cut promos before.
Sean said this on the Fightful review, being like, it felt like he was trying to not force the tears, but just like, if I cried here, this will be really emotional. And the tears never quite came.
Yeah.
I think that maybe it's because he's told this story like 2 times over the weekend. So telling it now
so
for
all the interviews.
Exactly, all the interviews he's done and all the press conferences he's done where he's told the reason why he came back. So maybe now doing it for a third time, you kind of got all that emotion out of you, and so you don't really have that sort of like first punch of it. The first time I think the time when he came the closest to really crying was when he mentioned his kid and said that his kid has got his dad's eyes. That was the time I thought it was genuine tears. But there were other times where it was like, if I cried here, this would be really good. Yeah. And it never quite happened. I will say though, like it felt like an AEW promo.
Yeah, definitely felt. Well, I think he said that he was unscripted. He could go out there and say what he wanted.
And I think that is
great.
I think that is way for the best. Like it didn't feel like a WWE promo.
After that, we got Naomi and Sasha Banks defending their freshly won women's.
No, they weren't. No, they didn't. This wasn't a title match.
Sorry. It was a championship contenders match. That's actually annoyingly important to this review. They were defending. They weren't defending. They were having a match against Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Nah, good action. Don't believe in anything. And Naomi and Sasha won clean. Rhea Ripley then walked to the back, leaving Liv by herself.
Which is interesting because there had been a report earlier in the day that Edge's faction is getting some new members, and Rhea Ripley is one of those names that is rumored to be part of that faction.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
I think that's a great idea. Unfortunately, we have to sit through this crap to get there. So let's just do the whole thing. Liv Morgan goes up to Rhea later on and is like, what happened there? And Ripley's like, it's okay. I've asked the worst general managers ever if we can just have a title match anyway next week. They said okay. So we've got a title match next week.
So they set up a title match by having the challengers lose to the champions.
In a match specifically designed to give them a title shot.
I have zero idea how anyone could have written this down on paper, looked at it and be like, well, that makes sense. Go, let's run with that.
And then also, even before I read the Edge stuff, I was like, oh, okay, so Ripley's going to turn on Morgan when they lose again next week.
Yeah.
So why do that here?
Yeah, why not do this here? Yeah.
What? Why just have them win a number one contenders match? Naomi and Sasha are watching on from ringside. You do the match next week, and that's when you do the split fresh.
Yeah, and we actually said on the stream last night, you could have had them beat Zelina and Carmella and then done their breakup angle there, because Carmella and Queen Zelina's match didn't happen in the end because they just did a breakup angle.
You're totally right. It's so frustrating that they look at someone like Rhea Ripley and think the only way we can tell any stories with you is by partnering you with a random other woman. You have rubbish tags with them for a couple of months and then you leave them undramatically.
Yeah. This was a bad sign of things to come, unfortunately.
But not the next segment.
Not the next segment. Oh no. This was awesome.
Kevin Owens comes out. He just says, I had a bad back. That's why I lost the Stone Cold, doing all the usual heel stuff. And then he's interrupted by generic music and generic Titantron. And this guy comes out and he looks like he's walked right out of late noughties mid-card WWE.
I'm pretty sure he was on season 2 of NXT.
That's what I said something similar. And just everything about him's generic. And I'm like, is this someone new? And then he gets in the ring and clean shaven, but big dark hair. Owens looks at him and says, Elias, is that you? And I twigged that it was Elias just before. I thought Owens' delivery was perfect.
It was so good because the Titantron said Ezekiel. When me and Pete did the live reaction this last night, we thought that it brought back Ezekiel Jackson. And we're like, oh my God, they brought back Ezekiel Jackson. Then this guy walks out and Pete's like, who's that? And I was like, is that Elias?
Yeah.
And I sort of recognized his face. I was like, I think that's Elias. And this is a new name for him. And he gets in the ring. And you're right, like the Kevin Owens delivery of, Elias, is that you?
Yeah.
And Ezekiel then grabs the microphone and says, no, I'm Ezekiel. I'm Elias's younger brother. And Kevin was like, no, you're Elias. If this new story is Kevin Owens slowly going mad as he tries to prove that Ezekiel is actually just Elias. There's a lot
Why
of
did
layers.
KO resign? If that's it.
Well, he got to have a main
He
event
got
against
the
the WrestleMania main event.
3 years of silly comedy, fun comedy. Though.
I thought this was so funny. I thought that Kevin Owens was fantastic in this.
Yeah.
I thought that Ezekiel was really good in this.
He was.
Ezekiel's Twitter account now, he's taken over Elias's old Twitter account because, as we all know, Elias is dead. Elias died. We literally saw him getting buried.
Well, we didn't literally see. We saw a gravestone and then Elias walk off.
Yeah, that was probably Ezekiel
Who
burying
looked,
his younger brother,
who looked exactly like Elias with a beard. Yeah. Okay.
So Elias is dead. So anyway, he's now taken over Elias's Twitter, and his Twitter name is Ezekiel bracket Elias's younger brother close brackets, but the Twitter handle is I am Elias WWE.
When he said that he's not Elias, the crowd chanted, "Yes, you are." So I think there's two ways you can really run with this. It's got a lot of potential.
It really has.
Either, like you said, it's just Kevin Owens.
Everyone else
plays
a new
along.
guy.
Oh, what happened to Elias, man? Haven't seen him around. And Owens that's really funny. Or everyone's like, no, dude, you're not Ezekiel, you're Elias.
It's a lot like I wonder if actually he's a producer on this. It's Chris Parks in TNA when he came out as Abyss's brother, the lawyer Chris Parks from Parks and Parks.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the better storylines in the last in the teen era of TNA. But the reason that worked is because he's very meek and mild as Joseph Parks, but then he raged into a monster. What's Ezekiel gonna rage into? Also boring Elias.
Just doing the big old elbow drop. Oh, can you imagine Ezekiel's having a match, the guitar string goes, and Kevin was like, but wait, maybe he's not dead.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of potential. I mean, this is a massive step down for Kevin Owens after losing to Steve Austin at WrestleMania. This feels like a massive step down from him being involved in the WWE Championship picture, being involved with Seth Rollins. It looks like that tag team just isn't happening anymore, which is a shame. So this feels like a huge step down. However, I think Owens is going to have a lot of fun doing this. And so at least he's having fun.
As you said, Seth and KO was like, oh my God, what if Seth thinks it is Ezekiel? And they do keep the tag team together, but this is what breaks them up.
I think there's also potential to get Sammy involved in this. Conspiracy theory Sammy.
Yeah, he's the only other one that believes him.
Yeah.
We're putting way more thought into this than WWE have, I'm sure. Yeah, watch this space. It could end up being nothing, but also it could be 2022's Mizdow.
Which was good.
Partly because he looks like Mizdow. Speaking of Miz, Miz took on Dominic. He squashed him in 45 seconds. This was just a setup for Veer, who came down, booted Dominic in the face. He destroyed Rey Mysterio, and then he tapped out Dominic. And then he posed, and that was what we waited 6 months for.
We had a poll run during the show last night because Pete said Pete thought this was a good debut for Veer. I made the argument was, sure, what he did was good. He had good intensity about him. Locking on that submission was really cool. Dominic was putting him over. Poor old Dominic just got squashed in 45 seconds by The Miz. My point was, we've been building to this for 6 months, and this is the best that they could come up with. You could have done this 2 weeks after doing the Veer is coming promo videos, and it would have had the exact same impact. I thought they were waiting until the Raw After Mania to do something really big with him, because the Raw After Mania crowd will, a good comparison to this is Hook. Hook got over almost by accident, because AEW never promoted that Hook's going to be this big thing. He was just standing there in the background and all the Team Town stuff, and the internet made him a meme. The internet was just like, send Hook, and the internet got him over. And that then spread into the live crowds, who were then massively into Hook stuff. And then when Hook debuted, it was this incredible debut where oh my God, maybe he's the best thing ever. Yeah. So it was just a lot of great things coming together at once. It was almost by accident with AEW, and the crowd made this the big thing, right? With WWE, they didn't have any plans for Veer, But the internet made him a meme. The internet made him a big deal. And what you did here was just every generic heel beating down a smaller guy that we have seen in 30 years of this company.
Yeah. It's lazy. It's what you said. It's disappointing.
Yeah, really disappointing. So the poll we did was it actually good? And it was, I think 70% thought it was not a good debut. Also, fun fact, we did a second poll. 70% of our audience thought that night 1 was better than night 2.
Well, I won't argue with that. For whatever reason, though, I freaking love night 2 more. Bianca Belair then came out, cut a promo. We've already mentioned this. There's literally nothing else to say. She took off her sunglasses, revealed she's got a black eye. I imagine from that Rolling Thunder Becky boot to her face.
100%.
Which was cool. I was like, yeah, realism. But there was nothing really said in this promo. Nothing was set up. No new challenges. No new storylines.
Yeah, I mean, Pete noticed that they were putting some pyro on the stage that he thought that's going to be setting up someone to come back. But nope, it was just pyro to be like, and she's the champ now. Blah. No Asuka, no Bayley, no Lacey Evans, no Becky. Just like no one. Bianca now doesn't have a direction. And that's, for your season premiere, that is a bad, bad start.
Dolph Ziggler took on Bron Breakker in another NXT title match after defending it successfully at Saturday's Stand and Deliver. When was this announced? On the show?
On the show. Just randomly, during the show, it just came up with a graphic being like, Bron Breakker's taken on Dolph Ziggler. To tell you how last minute this was, there was an advert for NXT 2.0 later on in the show that said, see the fallout of Dolph Ziggler retaining the title against Bron Breakker at Stand and Deliver on Tuesday's night NXT. This was a massively last minute decision.
Ziggler took on Breakker. They had an okay match.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really that special. I don't even think Breakker looked that good, particularly to an audience that knows nothing about him. This is probably one of the smartest crowds you'll get all year. Even they weren't that into it. And Bron Breakker, sort of the finish on Saturday was super kick, and
there was an exposed turnbuckle spot on the Stand and Deliver, and they sort of played that up in this because Dolph did the turnbuckle again. And for a company that loves doing recaps, they didn't do a single recap of Stand and Deliver. There's a video package for Bron Breakker, but they had no video package to tell you, the viewer who didn't see Stand and Deliver, what happened in their match. That surely is a really simple thing you could have done. The other simple thing you could have done here was have the Steiners come out with him.
100%.
Why the Steiners were not out with him here? I thought the whole point of the Steiners going to the Hall of Fame was to do something with Bron Breakker.
If you had the Steiners at ringside, not only does it make sense because Robert Roode is on the other side and they can kind of nullify him, but it gives Breakker the rub. It lets a lot of the viewers who wouldn't know who he is because they don't watch NXT, oh, he's the son of the Steiners. Not like Scott and Rick had a son together, but you know what I mean.
They took DNA from both of them to create the ultimate.
He's a genetic freak. But, like, the crowd would have been into it, just from a live event perspective.
Yeah.
They would cheer for the Steiners. So all Scott would have to do is...
Exactly.
Big fat asses!
Do his big Papa Pump stuff and it would have been grand. I think in your review, did you make a comparison to this? This is like Zack Ryder winning the ECW championship.
Very close. I said Jack Swagger.
And that is exactly what this felt like. Yeah. A really, like... someone winning the European title. It felt like a nothing deal. And clearly it was a very last minute thing.
I think it shows how NXT 2.0 is failing to capture any audience now. I know they get viewership, but do they get engaged, loyal viewership? Because you did not... Imagine if this was an NXT championship match from any year before this one. Yeah. People would be going crazy. Last year it would have been, Adam Cole?
Yeah. Adam Cole, yeah. Last year, yeah. Well, 2.0 wasn't around then, so Cole would still have been with the company.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was champion at that point.
Who would have been champion at?
Was Cross the champion at that point?
I think he vacated. This is annoying me. Who was the champion in April 2021?
But you're right. Like if that had been in front of crowds, like that probably would have got a pretty good reaction.
A huge reaction.
Or when Ciampa or Gargano was champion or something like that, coming out to defend the belt would have been a really, really big deal. And actually, the internet would have gone mad for it, but it didn't really happen. And I think that's because NXT's median viewer is 60 years old. Despite the fact that WWE's marketing of 2.0 is, it's for kids, it's this bright, colorful thing. Yeah, it's like that. And it's just a load of old dudes are watching the show, which is so weird because it's the horniest show in WWE.
Well, tell Corey and Carmella that.
Oh, I feel like they've seen NXT 2.0 and was like, we need to out-horny them now.
Yeah, this is just... I honestly keep forgetting.
It's amazing. I don't think anyone knows who the NXT champion was because someone said it was Finn Balor, someone said it was Lee, someone said it was Cross, someone said it was Samoa Joe, Balor. It feels like they're just naming people now.
People from the last year of NXT. This is... I keep forgetting it happened.
Yeah. I had actually forgotten it happened until I was reading your review.
Bobby Lashley comes out now. Well, MVP comes out first. Has a nice little neat line because he's amazing where he says, Bobby Lashley, he's amazing. He won at WrestleMania. Didn't even need me. Which played into, skip to the end, Amos comes out to challenge Bobby to another match. MVP turns on Lashley.
Now, can I pose a... So, this segment didn't work for me. I think the idea of MVP turning on Bobby Lashley and siding with Amos is a really good idea, right? I think there's some, because Amos isn't the world's greatest talker, MVP is an amazing talker, and I think that MVP can use his incredible skills and charisma to try and make Amos feel like a bigger deal. Because I think Amos has floundered since he left AJ Styles. Because all he does, he comes out, does it with his big Giacomo jacket, and he does squash matches, and that is it, and no one cares. I think MVP might make people care. However, I've already seen Bobby beat him. I've seen Bobby take him off his feet on the Raw before Mania, and then I've seen him beat Amos at WrestleMania. So why am I supposed to care now? Like, I've already seen the hero overcome the giant.
He speared a man in the back. Where else is there to go?
Why didn't you just do this angle at WrestleMania and have Amos beat Lashley? And then you can have the babyface trying to mount the comeback and topple the giant. He's already toppled Jack's already beaten the Beanstalk and the giant. And now it's time to be like, and now you got to care about the giant again. You got to wait to see if Bobby can do it. Like, he's already done it.
Yeah, if this was a sequel, like a movie sequel to the match, I'd be like, no, that's rubbish. It's Force Awakens. I totally agree with you. That's a much better way of having done it. And the other negative for this is Bobby Lashley is now one-dimensional, I'm happy to be here, smile, Bobby, smile, Lashley.
Yeah, you said this on, I can't remember which show it was now, where you kept saying they're just chipping away all of the things that we really liked about Bobby Lashley. And when Bobby Lashley was at his most super awesome Hurt Business Bobby Lashley with Cedric and Shelton and MVP, and every week, just chipping away all of those cool points. And now we've taken away the last thing that we really liked about Bobby Lashley's act. And now he may as well just have sisters again.
Vince never wanted the Hurt Business.
Nope.
That wasn't his idea. That was sort of an MVP creation, it looks like. Vince wanted almighty AR graphics.
I don't think he ever wanted Bobby as a heel.
No.
I think he looks at Bobby, he's like, well, he was in the army. He's a babyface.
Queen Zelina and Carmella came out for a match against Shayna Baszler and Natalya. I'm almost grateful it didn't happen because Zelina...
heel on heel matches.
Zelina then said to Carmella, I blame you for losing the titles, and Corey is hot. And that was too much for Carmella. And Carmella brawled, and then Carmella ended up in Corey's lap, and they just started snogging.
Yep, she clearly didn't care about that tag team or the titles much because she just wants to bone her dude.
Can't wrestle, Zelina. I just want to get screwed. And Corey's there like, yeah, I want to screw you.
We just had a whole routine during the live reactions of like what that show basically is, which is just Corey being like, dildos, am I right? Oh, look, I left them on the bed. How did that happen?
Now they're in my bottom.
My girlfriend, right? Tits.
They then play
the re-edit of the stuff.
They're playing recaps of what happened at WrestleMania all night. And this one was Vince's stunner. And I was like, how are they going to do this? WWE's editing department are the greatest in the world. And they, using like this mixture of slow motion, somehow cutting to images, then different camera angles. I'm pretty sure they might have just CGI'd a different guy in to be Vince McMahon.
Just went down and reshot it.
That they're in the 2K studios. There's mocap. Christopher Daniels is mocapping for it to take a stunner. So yeah, that happened. Didn't look as bad. Still looked pretty bad though.
On the Blu-ray release of this, that's the version that will be in the final cut.
Yeah,
like all of the stumbling will be removed from history, and I reckon in a couple of months' time, once that Blu-ray is out, that will be the version that's done on the network. So the replays won't have the stumbling Vince.
Yeah,
but we'll always have the stumbling Vince. In the same way they took away Poncho Joe from last year's WrestleMania in the re-edit of WrestleMania 37, we'll always have Poncho Joe in our hearts.
Why can't you have for WrestleMania 37 the kickoff show, then the Reign period as a different episode, and then the main card?
I like it.
RKBro, I say this. RKBro and Finn Balor took on the Usos and Austin Theory next. Really good promo backstage beforehand. Austin Theory's in the middle, and you've got Jimmy and Jay either side of him, slightly behind him, kind of like his bad thoughts. And they're cutting this promo like, you're not good enough, you lost.
To a commentator.
Yeah, and it wasn't done goofily. I thought it was really, really well done. Theory's facials were excellent, and he got over he still used the selfie stuff a lot when he came down and after he won. Spoiler. But it felt more aggressive. This felt like a new version of Austin.
When this match started, King Jay and Pete turned to me and said, like, who do you think's taking the pin at this match? I was like, lad, Finn Balor's right there. Like, it's clearly Finn Balor.
He has lost 3 times in the last 4 days and didn't have a match at WrestleMania.
Pin Balor over here.
Yeah.
Just like, poor lad.
That's good. Has anyone said Pin Balor?
I think we've used Pin Balor before, because there was a string of time when he was just getting pinned on TV all the time. I think we used Pin Balor.
That is good. Fun match. Went about 10 minutes. Orton's hot tag is amazing. And yes, Austin pinned Balor, which is what you want.
Just why don't you just do it as a singles match now, just having Austin Theory win the title on this show? At least it would have been something happening.
The NXT Championship changed hands.
You know, when you're right, you're right.
Then we got the Edge promo. I really, really dig what Edge is doing. He came out, he looked awesome, his music's awesome. And interestingly, he said he didn't expect Priest to help him out at WrestleMania. That was not part of his plan. I just assumed he had recruited Priest. So Damien comes down, he explains his side of things and said, hey, when you were cutting your promos about AJ Styles and about the audience and why you're doing what you're doing now, it spoke to me. I want in. So now that, they're this new ministry.
God, they look so cool together as well. Look really, really awesome together. I mean, like, I know Brody King made his tweet about, like, a Wish.com version of the House of Black, and I kind of get what he means, because it's a very House of Black style thing, but it's still very, very cool. House of Black is very, very cool. I think Edge and Priest together look awesome. I think Edge in his big velour suit that he's got looks really cool, and Priest, this is the first time since NXT that Priest has looked cool again.
Yeah, you're right.
And I love that. This isn't Bad Bunny's my mate Priest. This isn't, ooh, am I a baddie? Am I a goodie Priest? Ooh, which side of me are you going to get? Jekyll and Hyde. This is just, I'm cool Damian Priest. And he looked so awesome. And I'm fully on board for this act.
AJ comes out, doesn't knock his head, and brawls with Priest and Edge, but too many people, numbers overcome him, they lay him out. They do a sort of double team move of a spear and a lariat to the back.
So it was like a high-low.
Yeah.
With, it's like so it was the sweep of the leg and the spear.
Yeah. Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. So it was a high-low but with a spear,
right.
And it was really, really awesome.
That makes me excited, because that says to me they're working on tag team offense.
Versus Randy Orton. Cool, Edge versus Randy Orton again.
It works now, though.
Do you know what? Like, I thought this was really cool. There are reports of other names being added to this, and I would make the argument. I don't need surprise returns, don't need debuts this now, but if you're going to do the Raw After Mania show and get people really excited for the future, maybe you have one of those members join this week.
I think if Ripley is a name, goddamn, I think that could be awesome.
Do you know who the other name is?
Tommaso Ciampa, but Ripley as a heel, alongside Edge as her manager, feuding with Bianca Belair. That's really compelling.
Yeah. If only that had been set up on this show.
Mm-hmm. The officials, for once, stopped a concerto on AJ Styles.
Yeah, well, Jamie Noble got in there. Like, at last, Jamie Noble's here. He'll sort them out.
And the final thing we'll talk about, because we've covered the Roman promo, Street Profits took on Alpha Academy in it started as a normal match, but Adam Pearce was like, no, it should be a Texas Tornado match. And that, I don't know if the guys knew about that in advance, because they then seemed out of place for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, I actually wasn't expecting a match here at all. Because, like, when Edge came out for his promo, there was, like, 45 minutes left of the show or something. I was like, well, Edge is going to have a long promo. Roman's going to have a long entrance. And actually, because it's the main event segment, you'd imagine there's going to be something of substance to it. It's probably no time for another match. But, you know, they had a 5-minute match here. The Street Profits won. Nothing was achieved.
Yeah. And that
not even the Gable Steveson.
No.
Which you'd think.
Well, he had to go to school. And that is the Raw After Mania.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we use this term in the title. And we've used it quite a few times today. Disappointing. Really, really disappointing. This is the first proper Raw After Mania since 2019. And it did not feel like the Raw After Mania. This felt like a regular episode of Raw. And coming off the back of those 2 excellent nights of WrestleMania, this is such a disappointment.
Hasn't felt like Raw After Mania hasn't been good for way before the pandemic. But god damn it, I suckered me and I thought it would be good this time.
Every year we think it's going to be.
I gave it the second lowest score of the year of anything. And the lowest was the Go Home SmackDown episode. So talk about a delicious sandwich with crap bread.
Yeah.
I gave this 35%.
Yeah, I'd have given this a 2 out of 5. Because it wasn't a bad episode of Raw. It was a boring episode of Raw. Made worse because it was the Go Home... I keep calling it the Go Home show. The Raw After Mania. We did have a community poll for this. And surprisingly, 48% thought this was a 3 out of 5 average show. 18% saying it was 2 out of 5. 15% saying it was 1 out of 5. 12% saying it was 4 out of 5. That is a big middle finger result there.
For Stone Cold. Well, that's 33% of people thought it was significantly below average.
Yeah.
Ultrachats. WrestleTalk.com/support. Get your chats in now. Last call for those. The Rick Peck says, over the past year, I've watched less and less WWE and more AEW, having been loyally watching for years. WrestleMania 38 renewed my love of it, and then Raw made me realize that renewal was a flash in the pan, despite interest in Roman and Cody and Edge being my fave. Assassin Slayer 65 was one of those people that decided to watch Raw after not watching it for years due to a great WrestleMania weekend, ended up falling asleep right as RKBro came out. Feels like I didn't really miss anything though. I was disappointed nonetheless. Melas. I only watch WrestleMania when it comes to WWE. Decided to watch Raw, however, ended up falling asleep after the Cody promo. What a win that was from me. By the way, Balor Bobby match was at WrestleMania 35.
Is that the last time he's won on pay-per-view? Was WrestleMania 35? I suppose he'd go to NXT for a couple of years.
Apparently so. A main roster pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Damn. Jake Egan. Hi, lads. Just wanted to say the reason I think we didn't get a typical traveling Raw After Mania crowd is because people outside of America may still be wary of traveling there and be COVID hesitant. Hence a rather subdued atmosphere than usual. Yeah, I'd say that's part of it.
Yeah.
But also the quality of the show, I'd say, is a bigger driver. Because there's been better crowds than this in America for WWE and AEW. Totally. Countless times over the last year. The Patrical. I just don't get how you can put a show like this after a great WrestleMania. Do you think that WWE really believe they've booked great big moments for this Raw After Mania? I can't believe they thought this show was good enough for the biggest Raw of the year.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think you sort of made this point in your review, but who were the biggest stars coming out of WrestleMania? It was Pat McAfee, Johnny Knoxville, Steve Austin, Vince McMahon, Logan Paul. And none of them are on Raw because they're the celebrities that are just doing the one WrestleMania night. It's what CM Punk said on the Cabana podcast. It's like, look, I'm fine doing a match with Brock Lesnar and losing to him, but Brock's not there on Monday night, and I am. I don't mind doing the Undertaker match and losing to Undertaker at WrestleMania, but Undertaker's not on Monday night, and I am. And Punk's, his point was just like, all I'm doing is I'm just putting over these part-timers and these legends and bigger stars, but then I've got to do all the work for the rest of the year while they just come and have one night of greatness. And that's what WrestleMania was this year. A lot of celebrities getting big wins, and now we've got another year of the boys and girls doing all of the hard work and carrying the company on their back just so they can lose to the celebrities again at WrestleMania.
Josh Tilley, really crap Raw. Can they bring back Bayley and Asuka already? But on the bright side, at least Veer finally came. Poor lad has been building up for that for months. Wilson Simons, agreed Luke. I spent a lot of money this weekend and I really wish I would have known I could have saved a lot of it by not going to a nothing show. Jam that jam, fellas. Still the most fun weekend of my life. Well, it sounds like Wilson was there. Yeah, Wilson, it sounds like it. And at least you had a fun weekend, but you're right, like this, that paying audience. Feel bad, because those are pricey tickets for the Raw After Mania. Hot take. Charles Berg said, you guys didn't think the man who created Retribution member Spunk wouldn't have some Edge faction names? The Edge Appreciation Society, the Purple's Court, the New Brood, or the Nude. The Purple Cobras, Recompense, the Purple Ninjas. Jam that jam. Purple Nurples. I like the Nude. Yeah. I like Purple's Court. Anthony Velasquez, sucks to see the women's tag division relegated back to where it was. I guess the women's tag belt served its purpose Mania. Now WWE are going back to breaking up all of the tag teams. It's exactly where it was. Yeah. It wasn't properly treated before Mania. Nope. It wasn't treated well at Mania. Or last year's Mania. This is exactly where it's always been. A total afterthought for people that are just sitting around backstage. These tag belts have not meant anything since Bayley and Banks held on to them for that summer of Bayley. Dark73 loved how Byron had one job to get it right with when Roman was making his entrance. The t-shirts could not be more appropriate. Greatness on another level. Ah, yes. Goa mode engaged. They keep getting it wrong because it's greatness on a different level. So, Goddle mode. It's meant to be God mode. Yeah. It's a bit tortured. It is a bit tortured, but when Michael Cole first introduced it on SmackDown, he called it greatness at a different level, so it was Gaddle mode. And now Byron's here calling it Go. Guys, it's not that difficult. Well, maybe you're right. Maybe it is difficult. It's just bad. Well, no, it's not bad. It's a bit naffly contrived, isn't it? Yeah, because you have to pretend that level's not part of it. Yeah, or all the other words. Greatness on a different level. Almost half of the words aren't in the acronym. Nikos. So let me get this straight. Winning a championship contender might get you a title shot, but losing one guarantees you a title shot. I guess the goal for both the challenger and the champion is to lose the match. I'm so confused. What are the rules? Zoe Sung, you got your Cody 2019 promo. Never come back, Ronda. Logan Paul is a better pro wrestler than Dominic Mysterio. Feel bad for Roman. That injury looked like it sucked. I didn't watch Raw. Saw the Cody promo, then went back to watching something else. Happy for Cody, I think. Is it confirmed that Roman's injured, or is it still just speculation? Oh, but when he lifted the titles, he went... Yeah, but he lifted both of them up on Raw last night. Yeah. No reports to my knowledge have come out that Roman's injured. I guess we'll see. We'll see how much. It's not like you said. It's not like he wrestles week in, week out. Brandon said, "Hi guys, the best thing on the show for me was Bianca taking off her glasses to show her black eye, and people at the same instant started chanting, 'You deserve it.' Thanks, you bunch of assholes." Kimchi Cowboy. When Elias showed up, I think you'll find this Ezekiel. Yeah. I thought to myself, I thought Eddie Money was dead. Also, Cody needs to ditch the twitching head, squinting eyes, voice crack, crying shtick. Someone already made a gif of him doing the exact same face during the racism promo. Jam that jam. Play emotion file. Zoe Sung, silly people, you only watch the premium live events. Do you really get sad or you get really sad or start doing a percentage grading system for reviews based instead of stars or numbers out of 5? Also, Flair's big boot wins a lot of matches because it's a big steppy. The biggest steppy. It's probably the biggest actually, one. I would say the coup de grace is the biggest steppy. Maybe the Claymore. It's a massive steppy. But it's only one of them. That's true. Riot DR. Okay, Riot Rant. Alexa Bliss, Lacey Evans, Katie Ray, Asuka, Io Shirai, Kaden, and Casey Bayley when she's cleared. All of this talent perfect for insertion into a title scenes, and we get a Bianca Belair promo and Scoff championship contenders match. Yeah.
Start recording. Ezekiel kind of looks like one of those jobbers you can hire on 2K22 GM mode. Jokes. Hey, don't you be knocking brute force. He's going to do big things for me on Raw. Jokes aside, I'm intrigued where this character goes aside from the main event.
I think he'll get a healthy mid-card run for 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, lower mid-card, yeah. Actually, someone's made the point in the chat here. Kimchi, the bro kick is the ultimate steppy.
Yeah, it's probably the most protected.
Anonymous, I think Roman will unify the belts. He already has. He's the undisputed. They said it was a title unification match.
It's just words.
There's no getting around that.
It's just words.
They called it a title, and he then come out as the undisputed champion. They have unified the belts.
No. Can you? Are they mutually exclusive? If it's undisputed, does it also have to be unified? Well, that's not how I understand it.
It is when he wins a unification match.
Was it definitely a unification match?
Yeah, it's winner takes all title unification. They kept saying over WrestleMania weekend, this is a title unification match.
I just don't believe it. I think they're just saying words.
Like a contenders match.
Yeah, it's a championship contenders match.
Anyway, Anonymous continues. Remember Cody said he wanted to hold that belt his dad held? What better way to make that belt come back than simply unifying the two belts and bringing it back and giving it to Cody?
They won't do that because it doesn't look like a toy enough.
Well, like this. Mark Mayhew. Hello, Beeb, Ollie, and Luke Steady. Well, I like that a lot. Well, now you know what's next for Roman. The tribal chief will be dethroned by Ezekiel. Cody wanted to be champion so bad. Why did he come up with a new stip in AEW? I hope he does well, though. Excited for FTR versus the Bucks, too.
God, yeah.
Well, it's specifically the WWE title he wanted to win.
Because of his dad.
Yeah.
His dad did not, to my knowledge, compete for the AEW championship.
I need to go back and check the records.
I'll look at Cage Match. I'm pretty sure he didn't.
Start recording. Do you guys think WWE will ever bring back First Blood matches? I don't know why, but I feel the Edge Styles feud could end with one.
Oh yeah, that would be quite thematically appropriate, wouldn't it?
He did bang his head and cut his cheek.
No, I can't see them doing it.
Yeah,
for those two guys. But if Roman and Brock have, people who would give a First Blood match to if they asked for it. Brock, Triple H can't wrestle anymore. Roman Reigns,
Cody.
Maybe it's
Cody does love it. He does love cutting himself in matches.
That's why he keeps calling it the most complicated multi-year agreement ever, because there's addendum after addendum of this much blood for this month.
Scott Ollie, WWE disappointed yet again. No shock there. Only watched the highlights of Mania, and what I saw looked fun, but I know not to get invested because WWE don't care. Cody did the same crying promo he's been doing for 5 years now. Thank you for the content, lads. Love you. I'm not glad, but I am. It's not comforted. What's the word? It's not nice either. But when I watched the Cody promo, I did feels disingenuous. Feels like an act rather than. I'm not saying that the AEW stuff wasn't also a performance. It just totally convinced me, and this just, it didn't. Yeah. Charles Berg, here's a Mike Hart lemonade story. I was 10 on vacation in Florida. My father picked me up from camp, and I noticed a lemonade in the car. I drank it all. I told my dad his lemonade was weird. My father then giggled all day, caring for his drunk 10-year-old.
Oh, dear. Hard Mike.
Hard Mike's. Hard Mike's beer-and-aid. Samad Ali. Hey, lads. Long-time viewer since before the DAD went full-time. Love your content. I had a dream I was watching one of Ollie's news videos, but he was much heavier, bald, with Laurie's beard. Freaked me out. FYI, I'm not the other lad named Samad Ali.
Oh.
It's a different Samad Ali.
Oh, yeah, look, there's slightly different spelling.
Bacon Rasher, hey again, lads. What's this about people not taking WrestleTalk seriously? I'm 37 and take you all very seriously, especially when it comes to anything with jam in it. Love your work. We're always well informed. Keep it up. Jammy, jam, jam. Remember, I'm 37.
Oh, yeah.
White T says, I think this is our last one for the day. At least there was one good feud started last night. Sean Ross Sapp cutting a promo on WrestleTalk for enjoying the cluster elimination. No worries, lads. FTR versus Bucks on Wednesday. Yeah, he did.
What did
he cut a promo on us because someone Ultrachatted into their Fightful review saying that we kept replaying it on the SmackDown review. And he said, I'll remember that the next time they come crawling to me because they need some clicks.
Who made Sean Ross Sapp a YouTube personality?
this guy did.
Quizzlemania did.
And then he did impressions of both of us.
What are they like?
Oh, no, sorry. Where's my phone? You can fill the time. I might be able to find it.
Oh no. Beer. Get some beer. Beer52.com/WrestleTalk.
Oh my god, I found it almost instantly.
Well, you know what? I'll remember that. The next time they come begging.
Hello, mate. We really need some clicks for our new quiz show. Why don't you come and join us, please? You're so popular. We would just love to have you here.
I'll remember that.
Are you Ollie?
Yeah.
That sounds more like Ollie.
Yeah.
Because
That's
Luke
who I
doesn't
am.
sound that way.
Denise is joining in.
No, Luke sounds like this.
Yeah, there you go. That's more
Does
Luke.
sound a bit more like
It was good. It was a very good impression.
Just it would be Adam messaging Sean, not me. So he's doing an impression of Adam, surely.
Oh no, he's decided to take it out on you
Oh, well.
because you're the one who kept playing this clip. Oh no, it happened
Oh,
again.
did you accidentally play it?
Oh no, I did it again.
Oh,
Oh no.
no.
Oh dear.
Oh, he got kicked in
Oh,
the
no, he
dick.
did. Yeah, and then oh no. Oh no, he's got eliminated. Oh dear.
I'm Sean Rossett from Kentucky. Play the clip again. Yeah, this is my special DVD commentary. I'm gonna get some more action figures later. Oh, yep. This is when I got kicked in my dick.
Put it behind a paywall.
I'm gonna say a load of swear words to get cheap pops. Yeah, my name's Sean. There it was. There was the exclusive audio clip. What's your Sean Ross Sapp impression?
I don't think I've got a Sean Ross Sapp impression.
I don't either. Go.
Anyway, yeah. So we're now feuding with Fightful apparently.
Excellent. Well, that's all we've got time for. It's the end of the WrestleMania run of shows. It's been emotional. But we are back on Thursday, me and Luke, with the AEW Dynamite review. And tomorrow, NXT
2.0. What will be the fallout of Dolph Ziggler for successfully defending the NXT Championship at Stand and Deliver? We'll just have to wait and find out. SB3 and Sat will be reviewing that show here on the WrestleTalk podcast. Then it'll be Ollie Davis and myself doing the AEW review on Thursday. And Team Danuke are back together like Renegade Masters this coming Friday for Team Danuke.
I have words with her.
Oh, I've got words. Thank you all so much for joining us. Beer52.com/WrestleTalk. Get yourself 10 free craft beers on us. Thank you to Beer52 for being an excellent sponsor for this WrestleMania season. We truly do love and appreciate everything you've done. And thank you to everyone who's tuned in over the last few days. Jam that jam, everyone.